Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The Modern Warfare 3 beta is pretty much upon us, and Scump enjoyed his time yesterday at Call of Duty Next to such an extent that he did say to MettalZ there is a realistic chance he returns to some form of competition this season. MettalZ has been keen for some time to play in the early tournaments and even in challenges when the season gets underway. Scump says he'll have to dabble as well. Is this the start of something? Plenty of other news as well today. Very much enjoy your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. Lots to get into. Now, we saw some of these clips going around yesterday. Shotzzy embarrassing people. A lot of this was with the Battle Rage. Kind of, well, he puts the Battle Rage on and they're now nerfing this. And I think it makes sense. This clip as well is just ridiculous. I mean, these poor guys. I think as well, some of the guys he's killing here are like COD Next 085, whatever. Like the names that aren't proper names. And we believe those are people that are like non-creators. The creators got their own kind of names, whereas if you're a developer, let's say COD devs, they probably go by these names, which is, yeah, so likely these are developers that are getting kind of embarrassed here by Shotzzy, unfortunately. So, and also, we saw some other clips, and immediately after this, because Shotzzy tanked like 20 bullets here, like if you put the Battle Rage on, I mean, this obviously wasn't going to be allowed in competitive like this anyway, but still, it was pretty powerful, and it just enabled you to like immediately regen health and really give the other guys no chance at all. And Sledgehammer immediately say this is getting nerfed, right? As they say, it's not in line with our current vision for launch, and therefore even for the beta they're going to tune it better. So yeah, Sledgehammer are doing things right at the moment. They're correcting a lot of the mistakes that Infinity Ward have made over the last couple of years, and they seem to be receptive to feedback. So you know, look, I don't want to get too ahead of myself here, but I think that the general perception is this is a good move. And also I wanted to say this I thought was actually really rather interesting, as HyDra puts together, okay, it isn't perfectly aligned, but on the left-hand side, you guys can just about see this is Favela from MWIII 2009, and on the right-hand side, this is Favela from MWIII 2023. And, well, as you can see, this is the same part of the map, and on the right-hand side, the gameplay is even slightly sped up, and the guy is moving fast. On the left-hand side, he's just walking and running around, and yet, okay, the quality went terrible because it's x.com, baby. It used to be the same on Twitter, to be fair. But still, it seems like, on the right-hand side, the guy's moving quicker, and the gameplay footage is sped up, but yet he gets to the same point at the same time, which pretty much means, as far as I'm concerned, the map has been enlarged, and we heard this rumor that they were going to make the maps larger to compensate for the faster movements, and it feels like that is the case. Which is a good sign, because it more than likely means the maps will play similarly to how they did before, because if you guys have ever played Nuketown on Black Ops Cold War, for example, relative to Nuketown on Black Ops 1, it feels like an entirely different map, because it just plays way smaller on the faster movement games. It seems like they've adapted for that, at least on Favela, and hopefully it's the case elsewhere as well. Now, there's other maps they're bringing into the title. We know full well all the MWIII maps are coming back, but apparently there will be other fan-favourite maps from other Call of Duty titles returning in MWIII during post-launch seasons. This year, we were hoping we got something good. Okay, we eventually got Expo in and we got rid of Fortress, but it wasn't, you know, all things considered, a massive turnaround compared to Cold War, where we got Standoff, we got Express, you know, all these other maps came back, and even Apocalypse was, I didn't really like it, but it was played in competitive and it was okay. Recently, we haven't really got that much of that, and also I do wonder from other Call of Duty titles, is this just going to be Sledgehammer titles? Is it going to be other MW titles? Could it be Treyarch titles as well, given the developers are slightly more aligned on this stuff now? For example, nowadays, Treyarch does the ranked play and these other devs do the rest of the stuff, so there is maybe part of that to be said. And also, on the actual new Warzone map, these are the maps that have been noted, and, well, basically, we've got a couple from MW2, we've got a couple from COD 4, Countdown Kill House, and then Seatown and Overwatch from MW3. So, yeah, nothing Treyarch related, but I think it would make sense that some of the MW3 maps, especially the likes of Seatown and probably some others, I think are likely to return in post-launch seasons as DLC maps, as they used to be known. Now they kind of just added to the game. So I think that could be a positive sign as well, with any luck, as time progresses on this title. Now, as Slasher says, big question, what are we playing in this game? Yesterday, the rumor was that Control's going to be the third game mode, and that is still the way it is. But from my understanding, the pros, well, we know full well, Octane I think said it and other players said it, that they weren't happy with Control even last year. When the game launched, they were like, do we have to play Control? Let's try and find another thing, and it didn't really work. Some pros, some teams would probably quite like to just have 2 modes and do 3 hardpoints, 2 searches. And I wouldn't hate that honestly either, but I think that it would be better. It's better if we had a 3rd mode. Control, I don't love it, but I do see its place, and we need to find a good alternative if there is going to be one. I'm pretty sure when this game launches, the pros will try something else. There's going to be, I believe, a longer time frame now from what it was last season, right? Because last year, the game or the season started 3 or 4 weeks after launch. This year, I believe that's going to be pushed back at least by a couple of weeks. So the pros will have time to figure out what the game modes are going to be. I think they will test Demolition. I think they will test Capture the Flag if it's in the game at launch. They will test Headquarters, Sabotage, I don't know. Whatever they put in the game, I think they'll give it a go because a lot of the pros are fed up of Control. And as Slasher says, so what are we going to play? CTF, Demolition? Like, what's the options here? Of course, CTF was played on these maps back in the day and would work, I think, rather well if the spawns are okay. But I don't believe as it stands that there is a version of Capture the Flag actually in the game. So, yeah, they would need to add that. And it was the thing in Vanguard, right, when Sledgehammer didn't even add Control into the game until, like, late December or whatever it was. It was quite a while until Control was even in the game to be played. So, yeah, I don't know how many options these guys are going to have when the game launches, but I think they will try it out. And Sasha seems keen to get away from Control as much as possible. Karma as well, having seen some gameplay, I guess he's getting on the beta today, is looking forward to the way this is going to be playing, right? Because yes, graphically, the game is very similar to last year, but visually it looks different to play and to watch. And as Karma says, it doesn't seem to be tailored for the massively casual player. Yes, I imagine skill-based matchmaking still exists. Some of the issues we've had in COD for the last several years are still going to exist. But in terms of the core gameplay features, there are many steps back in the right direction. You know, even the red dots being back is a big one because that was like, and also Dead Silence, just trademark Infinity Ward ideas, getting rid of those things to try and help the players that are just camping in a building so they can hear people approaching. You know how it goes. We've talked about it over the last few years. But those type of players, maybe the real casuals, aren't going to have as good of a time now, especially against players like Shotzzy and others that are going to be side cancelling around corners, and it's, well, the movement seems to be back in business. So Scump, of course, was playing yesterday. There was also a 1v1 that we saw here between Cellium and Scump. Bit of revenge on Cellium's side for what happened at Anaheim 2019. I believe Scump's point of view here, like, at some point on the Warzone stuff, his game was completely breaking. He was seeing through walls, like, he was falling through the floor. So, yeah, bit of a nightmare stuff they need to fix here, but Cellium technically did get this victory, although it wasn't a particularly fair fight. And when Scump's game was working well, of course, he was looking rather good and got one of the first aces, I think, of the season, technically. And, of course, he was part of that, like, first Warzone win. This was a nice play from Scump as well. And this was a game that I think they were calling it Cutthroat or something, which is, it's like a 3 versus 3 versus 3, like a multi-team thing. And I don't know if you guys remember multi-team team deathmatch. I used to play quite a bit of this actually back in the day. Black Ops 2, multi-team team deathmatch, when you'd have 3 teams of 3. And it was a way to try and get more kills. Because if you're playing normal team deathmatch, right, you'll, you know, 6 players on your team, 6 on the other teams. You've got 5 teammates to take your kills. If you play multi-team, it's a bit better. So, yeah, I think it's pretty interesting couple of game modes they're bringing in. They always try some new stuff out. This Cutthroat thing they brought to the party. But I'm sure Slasher's thinking, look, don't bother with that. Let's make sure we've got, you know, Capture the Flag or whatever the case might be for the start of the new title. So Scump as well was discussing the possibility of moving into the Challengers ecosystem. And as Parasite says, he's 100% playing Challengers this year. So this is the Parasite cycle in a way, right? He frustrated with the game. He, you know, talks about, oh, he wants to be a coach and all this stuff. And then the game launches, gets in challenges, plays all the tournaments, and, you know, plays challenges for a little bit, makes some progress, maybe coaches a team, maybe plays for a team, and then calls it a day, does content for the rest of the season, streams, that type of stuff. That's what Parasite's done the last couple of years. This year might be different, though, just because it does look like a better time than the last couple of titles. So, yeah, as Ninja says in the reply, retire by April again. Playing challenges doesn't mean I want to go pro again. It's just fun and good for the stream too, which is absolutely correct. And this is what MettalZ has been thinking about as well. we know that Scump and Zinni and, is it Pred and Shotzzy, they're going to be the team of 4 that's going to play those kickoff tournaments when the game launches. Karma said, drop Zinni, get me in. We saw that a while ago. But when the Challenger season begins a few weeks in, because the Challengers matches always start, as soon as they've got a rule set, pretty much, they start the Challenger side, and it usually happens several weeks, really, before the CDL side usually begins. So, you know, and that's great early content, some of the early Challengers tournaments, and also the teams look very closely at it because they want to say, right, this guy's fine, he could be a good substitute or potential starter for our team as the season progresses. So then Methods was thinking, all right, well, maybe I'll get me, Bose, you know, maybe Zoom, maybe Octane, or just try and get some of the old school pros to come in and play in Challengers, form a team of 4, just have a bit of fun, maybe scrim, you know, be good content, absolutely, and they could play in the cups on the weekend. And I believe Zinni had said to Scump before, like, hey, why don't you get involved, Seth? Like, you know, come along, it'd be good content, be good fun. And Scump was like, no, I don't really think so. Like, you know, I'm not really enjoying the games that much anymore. But all of a sudden, having played COD Next and enjoying himself, all of a sudden Scump said, actually, you know what, Zinni, we might have to dabble a little bit, right? Maybe Scump could think about it. And you know, as I said yesterday, I don't imagine Scump regrets his decision to retire, but I imagine there was a bit of Scump that thinks, yeah, damn, actually, this game is more fun than I've had the last couple of years. I wouldn't mind just, you know, competing a little bit to see how it goes.
That means it must be good. The game is good, okay? Again, we can't really talk about it until it actually goes live, but the game is good. Like, I can confidently say, playing it for the first time, it is better than last year. I can say that with 100% certainty. But yeah, I'm getting some dopamine. Let me just say that. I'm getting some dopamine while I'm gaming.
Also, I'm gonna out him just so maybe it's possible. Abner is open to playing challengers. I said it. I told him.
I already told him as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I said we might have to dabble, perhaps.
So as we saw here as well, right, Scump was continuing to just pop clips, and Santana said, bro's coming out of retirement, I'm calling it. Scump says, not quite. But yeah, not quite is not... It's not no, not quite is kind of, well, it depends. Not quite can just mean no in this context. But also it can mean, well, I'm not quite coming out of retirement, but I might play in some Challenger stuff. Or, you know, I might just dabble a little bit and see how things go. And as I said yesterday, like, Scump clearly has the talent to still compete at a very good level, but that's not the case, and I understand it. But it's a bit of a shame, I think, that we've been deprived of Scump competing on this game, because it looks like he's going to be pretty good at it, all things considered. The other thing I wanted to mention before we close out here, though, was this, like, battle with XDefiant. Now, XDefiant wasn't actually... There was nothing going on yesterday in XDefiant. I imagine that it was only being streamed with people probably, you know, putting up old gameplays for replays and stuff. But obviously... the viewership discrepancy was quite severe, and Aches actually did comment on this, and he says, create the problem, sell the solution, a tale as old as time. So, you know, is Aches wrong about what Call of Duty have done? No. Infinity Ward have created a problem. I don't think they've done this intentionally, though. This is the thing. I don't think they've intentionally made the game worse over the last few years just to sell us a slightly better version. Maybe that's the marketing genius of Activision. I don't know. I just think they thought they were doing the right thing, but we already knew that it wasn't the case, and now they're having to revert it. In fairness, this is also XDefiant's intention, right? Okay, they weren't creating the problem, but their intention was to be the solution to the last few very questionable COD titles and bring it back to what COD kind of used to be, and that's what XDefiant is going for, whereas this COD has actually kind of done that. So I think it's going to be tricky for XDefiant to get off the back of this. But as Aches has said, and as Mark Rubin has said, and those guys, it's not like XDefiant's out for a year. It's out for several years. So hopefully as they continue to evolve and improve it, it can continue to push COD in the right direction. That's really all I want XDefiant to be, is just to keep COD honest and make it so that if COD decides to go off the rails again, then XDefiant will be there to take over. So, yeah, apparently it's going to launch on October the 28th, which is, I think we maybe heard the 17th the other day. Now we're hearing the 28th. So, yeah, we don't know exactly when it's going to be, but just a few days before the actual COD game launches. So, yeah, people will say it isn't the best timing, but whatever. People have largely forgotten about XDefiant at the moment because the new game looks pretty promising, all things considered. And just to mention this from Shotzzy, just, well, some of the movement that is possible here. Yes, this is in Warzone. Obviously, you've got the special sneakers that you can use as well. But, yeah, Shotzzy, I mean, look how far you can slide here. It's pretty insane. And, yeah, Shotzzy's ads, this is going to be difficult to stop somebody coming around a corner going like this. But very much interested to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.